Atmaran Mohanjo ki jai, Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashutara Shata Shishimar Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shila Gurudev ki jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashutara Shata Shishimar Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashutara Shata Shishimar Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad, Ashutara Shata Shishimar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nityal Vishnu Vishnu Para Shatara Shatashimar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Nityal Vishnu Mahabhagavat Shila Gokshara Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nityal Vishnu Shila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Nityal Vishnu Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupa Anugauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhattadasha Gunath Shara Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaura Pariṣada Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Shri Hari Ras Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Kshetra Mandal Gaura Mandal Brajamandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda ki jai. Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Vedanta Narayanitti Namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tara Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Yam pravrajantam apeta krityam dvaipayano virahaka tara ajuhava putreti tanmayataya taravo bhinedustam sarvabhuta hridayam munimanatosmi narayanam namaskritya narang chaiva narottamam devim sarasatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet. Shrinvatang Swakatha Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtana Hridantasto Yabhadrani Vidhunoti Suhritsatam Nashta Prayeshvavadreshu Nityang Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Tavai Vasmi Na Jivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tvang Nayamang Charanantikam Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshai Kshepakama Ditaranga Madhe Kripa Mai Tvam Sharanam Prapana Vrinde Namaste Charana Ravindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Haribo, Madhavi Didi, Kishore Prabhu, and Gargraj Ji, Dandavat Pranams. Wonder where everybody else is today. Anyhow. So, today I am going to be, since our Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam reading is slow today, did I say slow? I meant to say short. I'm going to start reading about the days tomorrow, the appearance and disappearance days tomorrow, because tomorrow is a huge day. So I think in the whole entire year, tomorrow is the Vasant Panchami is the day that has the most festivals in one day, the most appearance days, disappearance days, and so many things to read about. So as soon as we finish our Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, this chapter, then I will start reading about this day, and we'll end at our normal time, 8:30. All right, so let's read from here. Eventful pilgrimage. Okay. Yesterday we read a band of demons at Dwarka and Mathura. When Krishna was in Indraprastha, a demon named Shalva, who was a friend of Shishupal, attacked Dwarka. The Yadavas had also defeated him during Krishna's kidnapping of Rukmini. Having vowed to rid the earth of all the Yadavas, he worshipped Lord Shiva and obtained a flying iron city named Sobha that could go anywhere. Shalva came in his airplane and bombarded Dwarka with boulders and other missiles, and produced a whirlwind. The Yadu heroes, including Pradumna, Satyaki, and others, battled with Shalva's forces for 27 days and nights. When Lord Krishna returned to Dwarka, he at once came to the battlefield on his chariot, driven by Daruka. Seeing the Lord, Shalva threw his spear at Krishna's charioteer, but the Lord shattered it to pieces and pierced Shalva and his Sobha vehicle with numerous arrows. Shalva shot an arrow that struck Krishna's left arm, and the Lord dropped his Sharanga bow. Shalva took this opportunity to insult Krishna. Krishna then struck Shalva with his club, but the demon disappeared. Then a messenger came to Krishna with the news from Mother Devaki that Vasudeva had been kidnapped by Shalva. Hearing this, Krishna apparently lamented like an ordinary man. Shalva then appeared in his plane and beheaded a person who looked just like Vasudeva. But taking the opportunity, omniscient Krishna pierced him with a shower of arrows and demolished his Sobha vehicle. Finally, he beheaded Shalva with his Sudarshan disc. Shalva's friend Dantavakra then attacked Mathura to avenge his friend's death. Krishna went to Mathura to fight Dantavakra, who insulted Krishna with harsh words and weapons. Without budging in the slightest, Krishna hit his chest, causing his death. Dantavakra's brother, Vidurata, then confronted Krishna, but was beheaded by his Sudarshan disc. Thereafter, Krishna visited Vrindavan for 2 months and finally returned to Dwarka. An eventful pilgrimage. So this is what we're going to be reading about today. The disputes between the Pandavas and Kauravas eventually led them to the Kurukshetra war. Actually, no, we read this. Okay. So it led them to the Kurukshetra war. Lord Balaram chose to remain neutral and went on a pilgrimage. He bathed in several sacred places and eventually came to a holy forest called the Naimisharanya, where great sages were performing a sacrifice. Balaram noticed Romaharshan Sura sitting on an elevated seat and addressing the sages, but he had failed to stand up when Balaram arrived. This breach of etiquette angered Lord Balaram, who then killed Ramaharshan simply by touching him with the tip of a blade of kusha grass. Although Balaram was above all Vedic injunctions, the assembled sages requested him to perform some atonement for killing a Brahman, to set a perfect example for the populace. Baladev then granted the prestigious seat of Speaker of the Puranas to Romaharshan's son, Ugrashrava, in accordance with the sage's desires. He also blessed Ugrashrava with a long life. Lord Baladev also killed a demon named Ballbha, who had been polluting the sacrificial arena of the sages. Finally, on the sage's advice, Balaram went on a year-long pilgrimage of various holy places in India. He eventually went to Kurukshetra at the end of the war when Bhima and Duryodhan met for a duel combat. Anyways, okay, so we're reading this. Hari Bol Suryavi Didi, Dandavat Pranam. All right. Yeah, it's strange. Raseshwari Mataji and Indira Mataji don't seem to be here today. Chapter 79. Lord Balaram goes on pilgrimage. Shri Shuka Uvacha. Actually, let's see what the last verse was. Thereafter, for 12 months, the sages told Baladev, thereafter, for 12 months, you should circumambulate the land of Bharata in a mood of serious meditation, executing austerities and bathing at various holy pilgrimage sites. In this way, you will become purified. So kill that demon Ballbha, or whatever his name was, and go on pilgrimage. Shri Shuka Uvacha Tata Parvanyupavrite Prachanda Pangshu Varshana Bhimo Vayur Abhur Rajan Puya Gandhastu Sarvashaha. Shukadev Goswami said, Then, on the new moon day, O king, a fierce and frightening wind arose, scattering dust all about and spreading the smell of pus everywhere. Sarata Darshini commentary by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. In this chapter, Balaram kills Ballbha, goes on pilgrimage, and returns to see the fighting of Bhima and Duryodhan. Afterwards, he returns to Dwarka. When the dark moon arrived, there was a strong wind. There was a strong wind that filled with dust and the stench of pus. I don't even know what pus smells like. It's gross. Tato medhya mayam varsham palvalena vinirmitam abhavad yagyashalayam sonvadrishyata shuladrik. Next, onto the sacrificial arena came down a pour of abominable things sent by Ballbha, after which the demon himself appeared, trident in hand. Oh, Chaitanya? Yeah. I have this thing here, a battery that you can use. What is it? It's a battery for a phone. So you can just plug your phone into here and push this button, and then it'll charge. Don't you use it? I mean, like you can, I'm not giving it to you, but you can borrow it. Yeah. No, I don't use it that much because I have. Tam vilokya brihatkayam binanjana chayopamam taptatamra shikashmashrum Dangstrogra Brokuti Mukam Sasmara Mushalam Rama Parasanya Vidaranam Halam Cha Daitya Damanang Teturnam Upatastatu. The immense demon resembled a mass of black carbon. His top knot and beard were like molten copper, and his face had horrible fangs and furrowed eyebrows. Upon seeing him, Lord Balaram thought of his club, which tears to pieces his enemies' armies, and his plow weapon, which punishes the demons. Thus summoned, his two weapons appeared before him at once. That's so cool. He just summons them and they come. One second. Okay. Tamakrisya halagrena balvalam gaganecharam Moshalena hanat krudho murdhni brahmadruham bala. With the tip of his plow, Lord Balaram caught hold of the demon Ballbha as he flew through the sky, and with his club, the Lord angrily struck that harasser of Brahmins on the head. So patar bhuvinir bhinna lalato srik samutsrijan munchan arta swaram shailo yata vajra hatoruna. Ballbha cried out in agony and fell to the ground, his forehead cracked open and gushing blood. He resembled a red mountain struck by a lightning bolt. Commentary. The demon appeared reddish with blood, like a mountain red with oxide. Sangstutya munayo rama prayujya tatashisha abhyashinchan mahabhaga vritragnan vibudayata. The exalted sages honored Lord Ram with sincere prayers and awarded him infallible blessings. Then they performed his ritual bath, just as the demigods had formerly bathed Indra when he killed Vritra. Vaijayantim dadurmalam Shridhamam lana pankajam Ramaya vasasi divyanya bharanani cha. They gave Lord Balaram a Vaijayanti garland of unfading lotuses in which resided the goddess of fortune, and they also gave him a set of divine garments and jewelry. Commentary. They gave Balaram a Vaijayanti garland of unfading lotuses in which resided the goddess of fortune. Atatar abhyanujgyata koshiki metya brahmanai snatva sarovaram agar yata sara yurasravat. Then, given leave by the sages, the Lord went with a contingent of Brahmins to the Kaushiki river, where he bathed. From there, he went to the lake from which flows the river Sarayu. Commentary. Balaram went to the lake from which the river Sarayu flows. Anusrutena Sarayung Prayagam Upagamyasa Snatva Santarpya Devadhin Jagama Pulahashramam. The Lord followed the course of the Sarayu until he came to Prayag, where he bathed and then performed rituals to propitiate the demigods and other living beings. Next, he went to the ashram of Pulaha Rishi. Commentary. By following the course of the Sarayu, Balaram eventually arrived in Prayag. Gomatim Gandakim Snatva Vipasham Shona Apluta Kayam Gatva Pitrin Ishtva Ganga Sagara Sangame Upasprishya Mahendradro Ramam Drishtva Bhivadyacha Sapta Godavarim Venam Pang Pang Bhima Rathim Tata Skandam Drishtva Yayo Rama Shri Shailam Girishalayam Dravideshu Mahapunyam Drishtva Venkatam Prabhu Kamakoshnim Purim Kanchim Kavarim Cha Saridvaram Shrirangakyam Mahapunyam Yatra Sannihito Hari. Rishabhadrim Hare Kshetram Dakshinyam Maturam Tata Samudram Setumagamat Mahapatakanashanam. Lord Balaram bathed in the Gomati, Gandaki, and Vipasha rivers, and also immersed himself in the Shona. He went to Gaya, where he worshipped his forefathers, and to the mouth of the Ganges, where he performed purifying ablutions. At Mount Mahindra, he saw Lord Parshuram and offered him prayers, and then he bathed in the 7 branches of the Godavari River, and also in the rivers Vena, Pampa, and Bhimarati. Then Lord Balaram met Skanda and visited Sri Shaila, the abode of Lord Girisha. In the southern provinces known as Dravida Desha, the Supreme Lord saw the sacred Venkata hill, as well as the cities of Kamakoshni and Kanchi, the exalted Kaveri river, and the most holy Sri Ranga, where Lord Krishna has manifested himself. From there he went to Rishabha mountain, where Lord Krishna also lives, and to the southern Mathura. Then he came to Setubandha, where the most grievous sins are destroyed. Commentary. Balaram visited and bathed in each of the rivers, such as the Gomati, Gandaki, and Vipasha. Although his father and grandfather were still alive, it was on his father's order that Balaram carefully worshipped his forefathers at Gaya. After bathing at Ganga Sagar, Balaram should have gone to Sri Purushottam Kshetra, Jagannath Puri, which is nearby. But Balaram did not go there. According to Vaishnav Toshani, Balaram wanted to avoid the embarrassment of having to worship himself among the forms of Sri Krishna, Balabhadra, and Subhadra. At Mahindra, he offered prayers to Parshuram. Tatrayutam adadhenur brahmanebhyo halayuda Kritamalam tamra paprin pap paparnim malayam chakulachalam tatragastyam samasina namaskritya bhivadya cha yojitastena chashirbhir anugyato gatornavam dakshinam tatra kanyakyam Durgam Devim Dadarshasa. There at Setubandha, Rameshwaram, Lord Halayuda gave Brahmins 10,000 cows in charity. He then visited the Kritamala and Tamraparni rivers and the great Malaya mountains. In the Malaya range, Lord Balaram found Agastya Rishi sitting in meditation. After bowing down to the sage, the Lord offered him prayers and then received blessings from him. Taking leave from Agastya, he proceeded to the shore of the southern ocean, where he saw goddess Durga in her form of Kanya Kumari. Tata Falgunamasadya Panchapsar Sara Samuttamam Vishnu Sannihito Yatra Snatva Sparshad Gavayutam. Next, he went to Falguna Tīrtha and bathed in the sacred Panchapsara lake, where Lord Vishnu had directly manifested himself. At this place, he gave away another 10,000 cows. Commentary. Bathing at Pancha Apsaram, Balaram gave 10,000 cows in charity. Tato Bhivraja Bhagavan Keralangstu Trigartakan Gokarnakyam Shiva Kshetram Sanidhyam Yatra Dhurjate Aryam Dvaipayanim Drishtva Shurparakam Agarbala Tapim Payoshnim Nirvindhyam Upasprishyata Dandakam Pravishya Revamagamar Yatra Mahishmati Puri Manu Tīrtham Upasprishya Prabhasam Punaragamat. The Supreme Lord then traveled through the kingdoms of Kerala and Trigarta, visiting Lord Shiva's sacred city of Gokarna, where Lord Durjati, Shiva, directly manifests himself. After also visiting goddess Parvati, who dwells on an island, Lord Balaram went to the holy district of Shuparnaka and bathed in the Tapi, Payoshni, and Nirvindhya rivers. He next entered the Dandaka forest and went to the river Reva, along which the city of Mahishmati is found. Then he bathed at Manu Tirtha and finally returned to Prabhas. Shrutva dvijay katyamanam kuru pandava sangyuge sarvarajanya nidhanam bharamene hritam bhuva. The Lord heard from some Brahmins how the kings involved in the battle between the Kurus and Pandavas had been killed. From this, he concluded that the earth was now relieved of her burden. Sima Duryodhanayor Gadhabhyam Yudhyator Mridhe Varayishyan Vinashanam Jagama Yadunandana. Wanting to stop the club fight then raging between Bhima and Duryodhana on the battlefield, Lord Balaram went to Kurukshetra. Commentary. Balaram went to the battlefield of Kurukshetra to prevent Bhima and Duryodhana from fighting. Yudhishthirastutam drishtva yamo krishnarjunavapi abhivadya bhavangstushnim kim vivakshur ihagata. When Yudhishthir, Lord Krishna, Arjuna, and the twin brothers Nakula and Sahadev saw Balaram, they offered him respectful obeisances, but said nothing, thinking, "What has he come here to tell us?" Commentary. They remained silent, worried about what Balaram had come there to say. Kadapani ubhau drishtva samrabdo vijayakshino mandalani vichitrani tavidamabravit. Lord Balaram found Duryodhana and Bhima with clubs in their hands, each furiously striving for victory over the other as they circled about skillfully. The Lord addressed them as follows. Yuvam tulya balo viro, he rajan he vrikodara, ekam pranadhikam manye, utaikam shikshayadhikam. Lord Balaram said, King Duryodhana and Bhima, listen. You two warriors are equal in fighting prowess. I know that one of you has greater physical power, while the other is better trained in technique. Commentary. Balaram said, Bhima is greater in physical strength, and Duryodhana is greater in knowledge of club fighting. Tasmad ekatarasyeha yuvayo samaviryayo na lakshyate jayonyova viramatva phalorana. Since you are so evenly matched in fighting prowess, I do not see how either of you can win or lose in this duel. Therefore, please stop this useless battle. Commentary. Balaram said, because you are equally matched, neither of you can win this battle. Natad vakyam jihatur baddhavairo nripartavat anusmarantavanyonyam duruktam duskritani cha. Shukadeva Goswami continued, They did not accept Lord Balaram's request, O king, although it was logical, for their mutual enmity was irrevocable. Each of them constantly remembered the insults and injuries he had suffered from the other. Commentary. However, They did not listen to Balaram's meaningful words. Tishtam taranumana manvano ramodvaravatim yayo ugrasena dibipritar gyativi samupagata. Concluding that the battle was the arrangement of fate, Lord Balaram went back to Dwarka. There he was greeted by Ugrasen and his other relatives, who were all delighted to see him. Commentary. The word Dishtam, fate, indicates that the battle between Bhima and Duryodhan had been enjoined by Krishna and set into motion by him. Tam punar naimisham praptam rishayo yajayam muda kratvangam kratuvi sarvar nivritta kila vigraham. Later, Lord Balaram returned to Naimisharanya, where the sages joyfully engaged him, the embodiment of all sacrifice, in performing various kinds of Vedic sacrifice. Lord Balaram was now retired from warfare. Commentary. The sages engaged Balaram, the embodiment of all sacrifices, in performing Vedic sacrifices. Devyo Vishuddham Vijnanam Bhagavan Vyatarad Vibhu Yenaivatmanyato Vishvam Atmanam Vishvagam Vidu. The all-powerful Lord Balaram bestowed upon the sages pure spiritual knowledge, by which they could see the whole universe within him, and also see him pervading everything. Commentary. Balaram bestowed wisdom on the sages so they could understand that the universe was within Paramatma, and that the Paramatma was within the universe. Swapatyavabrita snato gyati bandhu suhridvrita reje swajyotsna yevendu suvasa. Suvasa shushvalankrita. After executing with his wife the Avabrita ablutions, the beautifully dressed and ornamented Lord Balaram, encircled by his immediate family and other relatives and friends, looked as splendid as the moon surrounded by its effulgent rays. Idrig vidhanya sankyani balasya balashalina anantasya prameyasya maya martyasya santihi. Countless other such pastimes were performed by mighty Balaram, the unlimited and immeasurable Supreme Lord, whose mystic Yogamaya power makes him appear to be a human being. Commentary. There are many stories about Balaram whose human form was his Sarup. Sarup can be equated with the word Maya because the Shruti or Vedic mantras state Sarup Bhutaya Nitya Saktya Maya Kyaya. The Supreme Lord possesses his own eternal potency known as Maya, which manifests from his own transcendental form. Yo nu smarita ramasya. Yo nu smarita ramasya karmanyarbhuta karmana sayam pratar anantasya Vishnu sadaito bhavet. All the activities of the unlimited Lord Balaram are amazing. Anyone who regularly remembers them at dawn and dusk will become very dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Vishnu. Commentary. One who regularly remembers the amazing pastimes of Balaram at dawn and dusk will become very dear to Krishna, the younger brother of Balaram. Thus ends the commentary on the 79th chapter of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam for the pleasure of the devotees in accordance with the previous acharyas. All right, so not tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow, we will read chapter 80. The Brahman Sudama visits Lord Krishna in Dwarka. Now, let's see. Let's see all who's here. Oh, Haribol Krishna Premavati Didi. She's here in Navadip, in the same month here with me. And Pradyumna Prabhu, Mantramurti Mataji, and Rupmanjari Didi. Yeah, to avoid the embarrassment. All right, so as I mentioned at the beginning, I'm just mentioning again in case you came later. Since today is such a tomorrow in one day, start today by reading from this Sri Chaitanya and its Associates by Rupmanjari Didi's Gurudev, Nitil Śrīmad-Bhakti Ballbha Tīrtha Gosvāmī Mahārāja. So yeah, I'll read about Viṣṇupriya and then we can end there. And then tomorrow we'll read again from that book about all the other personalities. 1 second, let me just get it. It's on my shelf. See, here's the book. Let me just find the page and then we can start. I really want to get this book on PDF. I wonder if it's available on PDF anywhere. Because then I can just share the screen. What am I looking for? Oh, Viṣṇupriya. Give me a second to find it, guys. Oh, wow. It's the last one. I mean, in the table of contents. All right. There it is. Srimati Viṣṇupriya-devī. Actually, I did find it on this website. Let me put it into reader view. Is the internet working? Looks like the connection's not so. Okay. So Srimati Viṣṇupriya-devī. 1 second. Okay. Shri Sanatana Mishrayam Purasarajita Nripa Viṣṇupriya Jaganmata Yatkanya Bhusarupini. King Satrajit in Krishna Lila became Sanatan Mishra in Chaitanya Lila. The mother of the universe, the avatar of the Lord's Bhu-Shakti, is his daughter Viṣṇupriya. Interesting. King Satrajit, Sanatan Mishra. So Sanatan Mishra's daughter is Viṣṇupriya-devī. And she's the avatar of the Lord's Bhu-Shakti. That's Gaura Ganadish Dipika. Krishna married Satyabhama, the daughter of King Satrajit, and a Yadu princess. In Gaur Lila, the same Satrajit Sanatan Mishra, and she became Viṣṇupriya-devī. All manifestations of Vishnu Tattva have three energies: known as Śrī Bhu or Nila, also known, Lila. Nila or Lila. Lakshmipriya-devī is the Sri Shakti of Mahaprabhu in his majestic Gaur Narayan attitude. Viṣṇupriya is his Bhu Shakti or Bhakti Shakti, and Navadvip Dham is his Lila Shakti. Shri Gadadhar Pandit Gosvāmī is the Shakti of Gaur Krishna, or Mahaprabhu in the mood of Krishna. 1 second, I see something. Okay. Hari Bol Champak Didi. So I'm reading from the book simultaneously, so that because this book had many improvements made to it, so that's why it might be different from what you see on the screen here. Knowledge is of two kinds: aparavidya, or material knowledge, and paravidya, or transcendental knowledge. Viṣṇupriya-devī is the personification of transcendental knowledge. Devotees worship her on her appearance day on the Shukla Panchami in the month of Magh. On the same day, materialistic persons seeking the perfection of worldly knowledge worship the goddess of learning, Saraswati. Okay. Viṣṇupriya-deví's grandfather was Durga Das Mishra. Some people believe that Durga Das was Viṣṇupriya-deví's father. In the Prem Vilas, the family of Durga Das Mishra's descendants through Yadavacharya is known as Viṣṇupriya's Parivar. Mahaprabhu's marriage to Viṣṇupriya-devī. Let me just check everything's running okay. Hare Krishna Shasharmaji. Oh, it's pretty good, huh? Okay. Mahaprabhu's marriage to Viṣṇupriya-devī. Vrindavan Das Thakur describes the birth of Gaur Narayan Shakti, Viṣṇupriya-devī, in his Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswāmī has also mentioned the event in his Chaitanya Charitamrita. In the Adi Kanda, the disappearance of Mahaprabhu's first wife, Lakshmipriya-devī, is described, and then his second marriage to Viṣṇupriya-devī, the daughter of the court Pandit. That's from Chaitanya Bhagavat. Now this is from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Then the Lord was married to Viṣṇupriya Thakurani, after which he defeated the Digvijayi Pandit. For the materialistic person, the marriage of a man and woman is the source of bondage. When the Lord marries in imitation of ordinary mortals, it becomes something quite different. It is a transcendental affair. By chanting and hearing about the union of the Supreme Lord with his divine energy, one is liberated from the material world. And then this is from Chaitanya Bhagavat. Whoever hears about the holy pastime of the Lord's marriage will be liberated from his bondage to this world. Lakshmi sat beside the Lord, and the house of Shachi was filled with light. Another quote from Chaitanya Bhagavat. All who saw the Lord's marriage on that day were freed from their sins and attained Vaikuntha Dham. This is why the Lord is known as merciful, Dayamay, and the master of the fallen, Dinanath. Okay, now Bhakti Ballabha Tīrtha Goswami again. Mahaprabhu's first wife, Lakshmipriya, left the world early in order to support her mother and his father. In order to support her mother In order to support her and his mother, Mahaprabhu made a trip to eastern Bengal to teach some students. However, he was away longer than planned, and Lakshmi found it impossible to tolerate his absence. So, meditating on his lotus feet, she departed from this world. When Mahaprabhu finally arrived back in Navadvip, he found his mother grieving for her daughter-in-law and consoled her. Though Mahaprabhu consoled her, soon afterwards, Shachimata started looking for another wife for her son. For that purpose, she consulted Kashinath Pandit, a well-known matchmaker described in Gaur Ganodeshtipika, verse 50, as having been Kulaka in Krishna Lila. Kulaka was the Brahman who was sent by Satyajit to arrange the marriage between his daughter Satyabhama and Krishna. Kashinath went Kashinath went to the court pandits to arrange for a marriage between Mahaprabhu and his daughter, the devotionally minded Viṣṇupriya. Kashinath persuaded Sanatan Mishra with the following words. Give your daughter, this is from Chaitanya Bhagavat, give your daughter to Vishvambar Pandit. In every way, they are a perfect match. She alone is suitable of such a divine husband, while he deserves such a pious and chaste wife. Viṣṇupriya and Nimai Pandit are right for each other, just as Rukmini and Krishna were. That's from the Adi Kanda of Chaitanya Bhagavat. From her early childhood, Viṣṇupriya-devī had been deeply devoted to her parents and to Vishnu. She would take bath in the Ganges 3 times daily. Shachimata would see her there and bless her when she saw her pay obeisances. Shachi thus already knew Viṣṇupriya's good qualities and happily agreed to accept her as a wife for her son. Bodhimanta Khan was a rich and wise friend of Nimai's family who volunteered to bear the entire expense of his marriage. Once it had been decided that Viṣṇupriya and Vishvambar would be married, an auspicious day and moment were fixed for the ceremony. With great pomp, the Adivas rituals were carried out on the eve of the marriage. The Lord arrived at Sanatan Mishra's house in a palanquin at dusk, and Gaur and Viṣṇupriya's wedding ceremony was performed according to both scriptural and popular traditions. On the following day in the forenoon, Viṣṇupriya joined the Lord on the palanquin and arrived with him to his house. Those who hear the eternal pastime of the wedding of Lakshmi and Narayan lose their desire for a material relationship of enjoyer and enjoyed, for one comes to understand that Narayan alone is the supreme enjoyer of the entire universe. For his service, Bodhimanta Khan received Mahaprabhu's embrace and mercy. Vrindavan Das Thakur describes how the pious women who saw the newlyweds compared them to various divine couples. Some said, "They remind me of Gauri and Shiva." Some said, "They remind me of Gauri and Shiva." Others said, "They are Lakshmi and Narayan." Yet others said, "No, they rather resemble Rati and Kamadev." Some compared them to Indra and Shachi, and others to Ram and Sita. It's from Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adi Lila, chapter 15. Adi Kanda, I mean. Viṣṇupriya-devī after Nimai's sannyas. Just checking the comments. Hi, Champak Didi. Mahaprabhu took sannyas from Keshav Bharati in Katwa when he was only 24 years old. In the Chaitanya Mangal, Lochan Das Thakur has described Viṣṇupriya-devī's terrible feelings of separation in the days that followed his departure. So this is from Chaitanya Mangal 2:14, verses 15 and 16. The earth split from the sound of Viṣṇupriya's crying. The birds and beasts, even the trees and stones, shed tears when they heard it. Falling to the ground, she would lament, crying out, "Why does my sinful life not end?" In separation, her breath was like fire, drying her lips and her body trembled constantly. The Advaita Prakash also describes how Viṣṇupriya-devī lived her life in terrible separation from the Lord after his departure. Every morning, she would go for her bath in the Ganges with Mother Shachi, after which she spent the entire day inside the house, never allowing the moon or the sun to see her. Not even the devotees were allowed to see anything more than her feet, nor hear her voice. Constantly shedding tears and eating only Mother Shachi's remnants, she became pale and thin. She took intense delight in the holy name, chanting all day long in solitude before a deity of Gauranga and serving it, and surrendering herself to his lotus feet. In this way, she demonstrated the ideal character of a devoted wife, as well as the forbearance spoken of, by the Lord in his verse, "Tornarapi sunichena taror iva suhishnuna." Śrīnivasacharya received Viṣṇupriya-Devi's blessing. He personally witnessed her devotion to Mahaprabhu in separation. Narahari Chakravarti has described this in his Bhakti Ratnakar. Every day, Srinivas would come to see her. He observed her daily activities, which are beyond description. She had renounced sleep, and if she ever slept, she would do so on the bare ground. Her bodily luster, which had formerly glowed more brilliantly than gold, had become dull, and she was as thin as the waning moon on its 14th day. She set aside grains of rice to count the holy names she chanted, and would cook only this rice and offer it to her Lord. Of this amount, she would only eat a small portion. No one understood how she managed to stay alive. Janava Devi's disciple, Nityananda Das, has also described the standard of the standard that Viṣṇupriya-Devī set for bhajan in his Prem Vilas. So this is from Prem Vilas. Listen, brothers, to the way in which Ishvari Viṣṇupriya would take the names of the Lord. By listening to this, you will get a feeling for the Leela. Every day she would place one clay pot on either side of her, one filled with uncooked rice and the other empty. Each time she completed one mantra of 16 names and 32 syllables, the Mahamantra, she would joyfully place a grain of rice into the empty container. She would chant in this way until noon, and then she would take whatever rice had accumulated and cook it. This is the only food that she prepared, drenching it with her tears before she offered it to the Lord. Looks like there's a part missing here. Anyways. It is not possible to estimate how many names Mahaprabhu himself chanted, for he chanted all day and night. Similarly, his beloved wife Viṣṇupriya chanted incessantly through the day and night. Such dedication to the holy name was not impossible for her, for the Lord had planted the seed of his power in her. We're almost at the end. It is said that Viṣṇupriya-Devī was the first to establish the worship of a murti of Gauranga. This has been stated in Murari Gupta's diary, his Karacha. Prakasharupena nija priyaya samipamasadya nijam himurtim vidhaya tasyam sita esha Krishna sa Lakshmi rupa cha nishevate prabhum. Krishna came to his beloved wife in this expansion form to remain by her side as the Mahaprabhu deity. Thus, she, the avatar of the goddess of fortune, was able to serve him constantly. The devotees of Mahaprabhu sometimes said that just as Ramachandra, who had taken the vow of monogamy, performed a sacrifice by seating Sita Devi's deity made out of gold next to him during her exile in the forest, rather than marry a second time, so Viṣṇupriya repaid her debt to her Lord in the pastimes of Gaur Narayan by serving the deity of Mahaprabhu. This deity is still present and worshipped in Navadvip. Sri Vansi Vadan Thakur and Sri Ishan Thakur were blessed by the service of caring for Srimati Viṣṇupriya-devī and Srimati Shachi-devī after Mahaprabhu took sannyas. All right, so that's our reading for today. And tomorrow we will read about all these other personalities. Let me just look at the calendar. Let's look at the calendar quick. What days are coming up tomorrow? It will be appearance of Pundarik Vidyandi, the appearance of Sri Raghunandan Thakur, appearance of Viṣṇupriya-devī, which we just read about, appearance of Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, the disappearance of Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the disappearance of Śrīla Bhakti Swarup Parvat Mahārāja. I don't know about him. Anyways, we can read about him tomorrow. So, the disappearance of Śrīla Bhakti Vivek Bharati Goswami Maharaj. And then it's the Vasant Panchami of Shri Krishna. It's Shri Saraswati Puja. And it's, Vasant Panchami. Yep. Interesting. It's also Republic Day. All right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Jai Shishi Guru Gauranga Gandhar Vikagiri Dhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju Ki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shila Gurudev Ki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Rashata Rashata Shishmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Rashata Rashata Shishmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Srila Gorksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Nitya Lila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Rupa Anugaurya Guru Varga Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Dashakala Shri Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaura Pariṣada Caritāvalī Ki Jai Namachay Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kund Ki Jai Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya Ki Jai Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Ki Jai Shri Baladev Prabhu Ki Jai Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Sarata Darshini Commentary Ki Jai Shri Viṣṇupriya-devī Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashaja Krishna Bhakti Padadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat Pranam, everybody. So I'll see you all tomorrow to read about all these many personalities. Oh, and Pajumna Prabhu, what he's saying, is that the Advaita Prakash that you inquired about? From Ishwan Thakur's Advaita Prakash? I guess, I don't know. I can't remember what it said when we were reading. Yeah. All right. See you all tomorrow. Jai Shri Radhe.